LOWKEY TV, breaking fools off.
What up, my nigga?
Said LOWKEY TV, breaking fools off.
This is a Said LOWKEY TV production.
Said LOWKEY TV, breaking fools off.
Yeah. You a hopper fool?
Said LOWKEY TV, breaking fools off.
Yeah.
We on.
All right, Said TV, Sunday Conversations with OG Wild Cherry. What's going on with you?
How you guys doing?
All right. So, let's start off first. How did the LA Superior Car Club come about?
The LA Superiors came about when I graduated from high school in 1974. A lot of the original OG Superiors were from Washington High School and Fremont High School and Locke High School. Okay, I started the club in 1976 because it was a big thing then. In 1976, a lot of lowriders was riding 1971, 72, and 73 Impalas and Chevy Caprices. And I used to just pull people over, just rolling down the street. Hey, I'm getting ready to start a new club. And why don't you come to our meeting? And we start meeting at Blue Chip Stamp. It used to be right next to McDonald's on Manchester and Normandy. That used to be Blue Chip Stamp where that church is. And we used to meet right there, and we had nothing but 1971 and up.
Okay.
Impalas. We didn't have no other cars other than that. And these other people used to pass our club meeting and say, when are you going to let some other car clubs in the club? And we rode like that for about a year and a half, and we voted on it.
Mm-hmm.
And see, when I started the club at the beginning, I was the treasurer because we had a vote, and mainly all the votes came from the guys that lived on the east side, okay, not the west side. So a guy named Pete was our president, and Gerald Logan was the vice president. I was the treasurer.
Okay.
And then when Pete stopped lowriding with us, he started playing basketball. I think he went overseas, started playing basketball. Gerald became president, and I became vice president. And then later on down the road, Gerald stopped lowriding, and then I became the president. And founder and president, been the president ever since 1976.
Okay.
Okay. A lot of people get us confused with some of the other superiors out there. It's only one OG Superiors. We are the original LA Superiors. 1976, founded by Daryl Dixon, Wild Cherry. Okay. A lot of people get it confused with the Superiors out in the San Diego area. And then there's the Superiors in the Ventura area.
What about the? I've seen the Superiors in Los Angeles.
Charlie Brown and them. Yeah, Charlie Brown and them are Superiors. They're not original OG Superiors. Nothing against Charlie Brown. I mean, me and Charlie Brown graduated from high school together, same class. He used to come to our club meetings with some of our club members, but he never clubbed with us. But him and a couple other club members I heard was trying to start the club back up. And when we went dormant, I got a house built in Lancaster, and I moved to Lancaster. I should have kept the club going, but I didn't. I should have started a chapter out there. We probably would have been one of the largest car clubs today if I would have did that, but I didn't do that. I relied on vice president and some of the other members to keep it going. I'll just come down like once every other month. And they didn't keep it going, and that's what happened. But the OG Superiors has a LA running right through the middle of the plaque. That's how you know whenever you see one of our plaques, that's an OG plaque.
All
OG
right.
Superiors,
All right.
1976 of June.
Let's talk about the first car you ever built.
First car I ever built was a 1974 Camaro. Really, I was in a Camaro car club. I started a Camaro car club called the Camaros of Distinction. No, not Flaming Animation. Mm-hmm. And then I joined Camaros of Distinction. I graduated in 1974, and my dad and mom bought me a 1974 Camaro for graduation. And that was the first car I started low riding. But I didn't really start low riding until I started the Superiors until 1976. 1973 Caprice, where it had hydraulics in it. And, you know, when I went to, and my dad said, don't be putting those hydraulics in your car. And it went through this ear and out the other ear. When I went to churches for the very first time, I was fascinated. I never seen anything like that before.
Did you see Gangster's video?
Yeah.
Okay, he was saying, and I always ask everybody this, that it was a car show on the streets. Talk about churches.
Oh yeah, churches. Only thing, the thing of it is, sometimes lowriders attract gangbangers. That's just the way it is, and that's Latino and black, and probably over in Japan, probably the same thing. That's why the police always run us off after about a couple of hours. But yeah, churches, Burger King. So before that, when I was real young, when my uncle used to low ride, Ronald Dixon, rest in peace, they used to go to stops. They used to go to stops, and they used to meet at the Jack in the Box over there on Main and Imperial. That's where a lot of the lowriders used to meet then.
What about Rosecrans Skating Ring?
Yeah, Rosecrans Skating Ring. If you're an OG lowrider, you know about Rosecrans. You know about Hollywood Skating Ring, when all the Monzas used to hang out up there. Monzas, 65 Chevys, 66 Chevys. There wasn't a whole lot of trades and foes back then. A lot of people were rolling in Monzas back then, like Simeon. That was his era. And people in the late 60s. And they used to go skating. That was the thing to do. If you low ride, you go skating. Even if you didn't skate, that's where you hang out at. And people used to hang out at the skating ring, wear tailor-made clothes, skating. I mean, I used to sit back and watch them brothers skate, and I used to say, man, I wish I could skate like that.
Brother clubs. Did you guys have a club that was like a brother club to y'all that you guys always functioned with?
Professionals. Nothing like the OG Professional. Before the Superiors Car Club, it was the Professionals. I mean, it was Majestics, of course, and it was individuals. But the Professionals had quite a few known with a lot of show cars. Before 1978, I'm talking about 1976, 1975. 1974, Ted Wells, Super Deuce, painted by Herman. And that car won sweepstakes at the sports arena. And I think that was 1976. It won sweepstakes, won the whole show. It's a car painted by Herman, and the interior was done by Bob and Son. And when we used to have our club meetings, at Blue Chip Stamp, they used to roll past us all the time, give us the blues, hit the switch, drag on us. We didn't have any show cars then. We just had stock paint. And we had a meeting in 1976, almost close to 1977. It said, who can afford to take their car off the street a year and a half to 2 years, get a custom paint, interior, do the engine, show trunk. And we have four guys that did that. A guy named Leroy Petaway, he was our first show car. 1976, purple, candy, flake, glass house. That was the first one. And then the next one was Keith Porter, 74 Camaro, candy red with flake patterns. Third one was myself, painted by Skip. What's Skip's last name? I can't think of Skip. Weiss. Skip Weiss painted it in his garage. And then the interior was done by Child's Upholstery. And then the next one was Billy Dillard, G-Freak. That 1969 Riviera with the Bob and Son interior, the gold flake with the crushed glass in it. That was painted by Larry at Superior Paint on Florence and Broadway. And that car won all kind of awards. I never won any sweepstakes awards. I just won best paint in some shows. but Billy won best paint, best interior. And then we had Clinton Simon, Loose Deuce, 1972 Impala, painted by Bruce. Was green with gold leaf pinstripe, and that was painted by Bruce. And my second car was painted by Bruce. And that's basically the some of the history of the LA Superiors Car Club. Oh, getting back to you, but like I said, the professionals used to come by and give us the blues, and all them show cars used to come past us, dragging, stop right in the middle of the street in front of Burger King on Manchester, and just sit there. And they hit the switch on us. We couldn't do anything. All we had to do was look, because we didn't have any show cars that compete with Ted and
I know my boy
Lonnie
White Boy Eric was out there.
What
White Boy Eric.
Oh yeah, White Boy Eric was a professional. Yeah,
Okay.
he was known for 64 Chevys.
Right.
And Petey, he had a 73 Chevy. Lonnie, 67 Riv. Felbert, 1973. Purple. It was like a maroon. It was like a maroon plum, purple candy Riviera with white interior, and then you had Mike Brown. That was the masterpiece. And now, I'm not saying masterpiece because the masterpiece. That was the name of the car. Every time that car was put in a car show, nothing never beat it. It had the best paint. Art painted it. Crazy Art painted it, and Bob and Son interior. I got a picture of it right here on the table.
Okay, we'll get to that. Speak about your car being in Lowrider Magazine.
Okay, I was the first African American in Lowrider Magazine, centerfold. Okay, 1980 March. Okay, and Salvador was our photographer. He came out and took the pictures of Wild Cherry at Holy Cross Cemetery on Slauson in Culver City. That's where the pictures was taken, and he did some very good shots of the picture. When that car posted in Lowrider Magazine Centerfold 1980, Lowrider Magazine and Salvador started calling us. I think his last name was Rodriguez, Salvador Rodriguez. They started calling us and wanted to put a lot of the Superiors Car Club cars in Lowrider Magazine. I don't know if we were the first, but we had 5 cars in Lowrider Magazine in 1980. 1980. The Loose Deuce, Clinton Simon was in there. I was in there. Simeon Gilliard with the Monza was in there. Keith Porter with the Camaro. And Billy Dillard, G-Freak, with the 69 Riviera.
Oh, okay. Any relationships with any of these people? Charles Clayton.
Charles Clayton, good friend of mine. He's an OG. Charles Clayton, we go way back. I mean, I've been knowing Charles for almost 50 years. I mean, Charles was an individual. I think he's one of the founders of the individual, him and Cuda. And that 59 Chevy he had on front of Lowrider Magazine, that bathroom green, mint green with the patterns on the trunk. Big D painted that one. And he painted these two. I got the pictures of right here. Professional car club.
Okay, what about Honcho?
Honcho Majestic?
Yes.
Honcho?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I know Honcho. Yeah, he's been around a long time. He's respected lowrider, and the founder of the Majestics, Lil John. I mean, Lil John. I mean, I haven't known Little John personally for 40 years. I knew of Little John, and he knew of me, and he knew of the Superiors Car Club, because he told me personally. He said, you guys were somebody to be reconciled with back in the day in the car shows, because you guys had some nice cars, but if I'm not mistaken, he's building a glass house right now. And he told me some stories about the Majestics when they started in 1973, 3 years before the Superiors started.
Right. Okay.
Said low-key TV breaking fools off.
What up, my nigga?
Said low-key TV breaking fools off.
This is a Said Low-Key TV production.
Said low-key TV breaking fools off.
Yeah.
You a hopper Said low key TV breaking fools off. Yeah, yeah. We on